Don't forget that while you're doing these, you are allowed to use your notes. So those notes should be really useful for you, going through the steps, remembering what to do in what order, and, well, should make these problems pretty easy, hopefully. So for the first one, we have a backpack that's normally $60. It's on sale for 25% off. We want to know what the sale price is. Okay, this is going to be before tax, so obviously when we go check out, we would have to pay tax also, but we want to figure out what the price is before tax first. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? What's the first step? It's an easy step. We're going to start at 100%. We always start at 100%. All right, now from that 100%, we're either going to go up or we're going to go down by the percentage. So in this case, are we going to add or subtract?
Subtract.
Why are we going to subtract?
It's 20%, 25% off.
It's 25% off, so the price is going to go down, right? So we're going to subtract 25%, and that gives us 75%. Then what? All right, so we change this percent to a decimal by dividing by 100, and we get what? 0.75. All right, this number right here has a special name. What do we call that? It's the multiplier. And why do we call it the multiplier? Because we're going to multiply it by something, right? What do we multiply it by? By the original price. In this case, the original price of the backpack, which is $60. So we're going to take the original price, multiply it by that multiplier, 0.75, and that should give us the sale price of the backpack, which is $45. Now notice that on this answer here I put a dollar sign, and then you could also, if you wanted to, you don't need it in this case. Most of the time you will need it, but in this case you don't because it's an even $45. I'm going to go ahead and put the cents on there also. So we get $45.00. The next one's a little bit more complicated because there's two things going on. We have one thing on sale, but then we also have to pay tax on it. So we want to figure out what the final price is after both of those things. So what are we going to do first? We're going to start at 100%, and then you said we're going to subtract 20%?
Yeah.
All right, we subtract 20%. Okay, that's going to give us what, Carl?
80%.
Gives us 80%. And then what do I do with that percentage? Divided by 100 to get 0.8. So we're changing that percent to a decimal. This decimal right here is a multiplier. Now we have to be careful. This multiplier just does one thing for us. It just does what? It's the multiplier for the discount, the 20% off. All right, so we have the multiplier for that 20% off, but we still need a multiplier for the tax. The tax, which is 8.5%. So for the tax, we're going to start at 100% again, but this time we're going to do what? We're going to add on. So we add 8.5%. 100 plus 8.5 is 108.5%. And then we want to change that percent to a decimal by dividing by 100. So we get what? 1.085. And we get another multiplier. So we have two different multipliers here. One of them that does the 20% discount for us, the other one that does the 8.5% tax for us. Once I have those two, what can I do to get the final price? Okay, multiply both of those things by the 250, the original price. So it started out at 250. So I'm going to take that 250 and multiply it by 0.8. That gives me the 20% discount. But then I'm also going to multiply it by 1.085. That adds in the tax for us. And let's first write down what the calculator gives us, and then we'll deal with any rounding or anything we might have to do after that. So what does the calculator give when I type that in? 0.00. So it's 217 even. Okay, that works out kind of nicely, doesn't it? So do I need a 0.00? You don't need it. I like it there just to show that it's $217.00. So I'm going to put it in there, but again, you don't have to have the 0.00 if it's a full dollar amount. What you do need to have, though, is the dollar sign here. Make sure that you have that dollar sign. Also, I forgot to mention it on the first one, but anytime we're dealing with percents, so we have 100%, 20%, 80%, 100%, 8.5%, all of those percents need to have a percent symbol on them. We need to remember that those are percents and not just decimals. All right. Now, the last one is going to be a little bit different because there's three things going on. So I want you to just take another minute on your own. Try to finish that one up if you didn't get it. Try to figure out what's going to happen after a 50% markup, a 30% sale, and then also 9.1% tax. For each of these multipliers, we're going to go through those first three steps that we have written in our notes. So we're going to start at 100% for each of them. I'm going to do the markup of 50% first. So I start at 100%, and then since I'm marking it up 50%, what am I going to do with that 50%? We're going to add it, right? So that's going to make the price go up. So if you think about what's going on here, this is what we were talking about yesterday. If you're a store and you want to make money, most stores will mark it up by a percentage. So they won't say, I want to make a certain number of dollars on each one, but I want to make a certain percentage on each one. All right, so we're going to mark it up 50%, and that gives us 150%. To make this easier, though, we're going to change that percent to a decimal by dividing that by 100, and we divide that by 100 and get 1.5. So there's your first multiplier. We're going to have three of them, right? One for the markup, one for the discount, one for the tax. So then let's do the discount markup, or discount multiplier. So it goes on sale for 30% off. So what are we going to do with that one?
Subtract.
We're going to subtract. So we start at 100. It goes on sale for 30% off, so we subtract the 30% and get what? 70%. We change that percent to a decimal and get 0.7. All right, so there's our second multiplier. That's the one for the 30% sale. All right, the last one we need is going to be the tax. So it says 9.1% tax. In case you're curious, that's what the tax would be like if you go to Target across the street. That is the tax there. All those stores in that shopping center have that 9.1%. So we're going to start at 100% and do what with it? Add. Tax is going to make the price go up, so we add on. 100 plus 9.1 is, if you have $100 and you add on $9.1, you have a total of 109.1. Okay, now it's percent, not dollars, right? And then we need to change that percent to a decimal, which would be
1.0.
okay. All of these changing percents to decimals, it might be a good idea to start remembering the shortcuts. Remember, the shortcut is we take the decimal here and move it which way? Left 2 times, right? So we take the decimal, move it left twice, and now it's between the 1 and the 0. In the 70, if we move it left twice, now it's going to be in front of the 7. If in the 150, we move it left twice, and it's between the 1 and the 5. So if you remember that, you won't have to keep typing into your calculator divided by 100 to get those multipliers. Now, we have those 3 multipliers, one for the markup, one for the discount, one for the tax. So we want to know what is the final price of this t-shirt. So how do I find that? Multiply all of it together, right? But we're going to start with, not the multipliers, but we're going to start with the original price of the shirt, which was the $6.67. All right, so we've got $6.67. We're going to multiply that by the markup multiplier, 1.5. Multiply that by the discount multiplier, 0.7. Multiply that by the tax multiplier, 1.091. And all of that together gives us
7.08.
okay. So we're dealing with money, right? And when you're dealing with money, you don't go to Target and they say, okay, it's $7.6408185 cents, right? Or dollars and cents or whatever. So what are they going to do?
Round it up.
They're going to round it. So they're going to round to the nearest hundredth, which is going to be the cents. And so everything after that hundredths place gets crossed off. Now, we do need to make sure that we have this number right here correct, that 4. Is that 4 going to stay a 4 or is it going to go up to a 5? It's going to stay a 4. Why?
0.
Yeah, it's followed by a 0. So we look at the number, the last number that we keep, and the number to the right of that is going to tell us whether it stays the same or goes up. So it is going to stay a 4 since that 0 is less than 5. And so we get 7.64. And I need to do one more thing with my answer.
$1.
Put a dollar sign in front of it.